5 years after Hurricane Katrina roared ashore, it remains among the worst natural disasters in American history. Over 1,800 people killed, more than $81 billion in damage, nearly enough debris to fill the Superdome floor to roof. The numbers are just too big. But you know, the numbers can also tell another story, one of hope and recovery and spirit. Of the record-setting 1 million meals the American Red Cross served in a single day, the more than 1 million families who received financial assistance from us, also a first. Of the nearly 250,000 Red Cross volunteers who made Katrina the largest response in American Red Cross history. Of long-range planning designed to channel your generosity into long-term help. And of how the American Red Cross responded in new and creative ways to Katrina's challenges to ensure greater preparedness across the country, with greater outreach to community and faith-based groups, more volunteers, pre-positioned supplies, more warehouse space, and better use of technology. Now let's meet some of the people of the Gulf and learn the ways they were helped by the American Red Cross and of its continuing efforts to prepare for the next time the Red Cross is needed. 4 generations of the Soigné family of Pass Christian, Mississippi spent nearly 3 years in a single FEMA trailer, even as 2 of them were being treated for cancer.
Can't put too much though, but we piles it in here. This our little freezer.
The Red Cross contributed to the cost of having that home rebuilt and found other resources for the Soignés. And as Red Cross caseworker Genia Crane told us, it was helping hands that helped make the difference.
All of the homes down here that were destroyed were created by volunteer labor. So not only was the Red Cross instrumental, HRP, Hurricane Recovery Program, but also the volunteer community that were willing to come down here.
When Katrina struck, this was not a happy sound. The storm surge that swept through New Orleans and much of the Gulf Coast caused a significant number of deaths through drowning. The American Red Cross responded by helping to fund an expanded program for swimming lessons here in New Orleans. Summer waves began with just 3 city pools open. By the end of the program, the number was up to 8. Jeffrey Parker is Aquatics coordinator for the Summer Waves program in New Orleans.
Naturally, after Hurricane Katrina, we recognized it was a survival skill that needed to be taught to kids. And so that's why we actually started increasing our swim lessons and opened it up to kids as well as the parents.
In the past 5 years, Coach Parker estimates they've given lessons to more than 1,500 children and adults, just some of the more than 15,000 people who have taken part in summer activities thanks to efforts supported by the Red Cross Hurricane Recovery Program. You know, sometimes the people who need help the most are the very people who are busy providing help to others. Cecile Tebo is a New Orleans police officer and social worker. She used Red Cross Mental Health Services for her son.
I followed my own advice, and I did that, and I brought him in to a psychiatrist, and they did an evaluation, and he clearly was having some post-traumatic stress issues. And we were able to utilize access to care, which was wonderful because right now, I mean, we're just pennies. You know, we had to use all of the last of our savings to begin the rebuilding process of our home until insurance kicked in.
The wind and water swept away whole communities, homes, stores, schools. In some places, it was as though nothing had ever stood there before. And for some, it was as though their entire history was gone. The mental toll could have been debilitating. But sometimes what people needed most was just someone to help make sense of it all. Shena Batiste and her family lost almost everything. Their business was destroyed, their home damaged, and 2 days after Katrina, her husband Terrell suffered a heart attack and died. Desperate, she credits Red Cross client recovery manager Thomas North with saving her family.
I still have to figure out how I'm going to bury my husband because we didn't have insurance. We didn't have no life insurance. And I didn't have a job. I got children that I have to take care of. So I'm explaining all of this to Mr. North. And in the process, he's kind of reassuring me that Red Cross is going to do everything that they can to help me. And they did. They actually held my hand and walked with me the whole way.
I am broken. really broken in a way that a tree is broken during a tropical storm, or the way that...
Across town, students at the Anthony Bean Community Theater shared stories of friends lost in the storm, of homes destroyed, whole communities erased. Those stories provided the basis for a play called 504. That's the New Orleans area code. It was a play performed by the students.
I can't get called out to anybody in 504, and it's been like that since yesterday when the storm first hit.
You guys came in right after the hurricane with us, and the kids were still traumatized. A lot of them came back that within 3 or 4 months after leaving the city. A lot of them was angry, mad, confused. They would have, I would call it little fits of anger where they would lash out. This theater program taught them how to rechannel that anger.
504 is now in its 5th year. It's toured Houston and Atlanta and will return to New Orleans in September, right after the anniversary of Katrina. So you see, there is a person, a family, a story behind every number. In the months after Katrina, an additional 8,000 families began the process of restarting their lives thanks to $80 million in long-term financial assistance, the means to the start of their recovery after the storms. Over 9,000 families received comprehensive casework support from Red Cross managers, 165,000 people finding the help they needed through Red Cross programs providing emotional support. In the wake of not just Katrina, but also Hurricanes Rita and Wilma, the Red Cross gave 1.4 million families emergency financial assistance to help them meet their basic needs right after landfall. And partnerships through the Hurricane Recovery Program with more than 3,400 local, nonprofit, governmental, or faith-based organizations nationwide help to expand the Red Cross reach and provide services to many more people. And here's the most important number of all. The number 1. Each and every one of you who helped us help so many others, because that's what we do, down the street, across the country, and around the world.
I am always humbled to be a Red Crosser. Disaster is a terrible thing. When you've lost everything and you feel like your life will never be the same, and you feel like nobody cares, and you see a Red Cross come in, and you realize that they're coming in not because somebody made them, but that they've left homes, they've left families, and they're coming in. And you stand there and you're literally surrounded by people who immediately start to work, but first come over and give you a hug. I realize that what I'm doing is I'm standing in the middle of heroes and giants.